Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on my channel. If it's your first time here, we're talking about the multi-dimensional approach to truly understanding narcissism on a spiritual, energetic, physical, emotional level. Yeah, rapidly healing and transforming from it and improving our lives, going on to live our most authentic, abundant, true, on purpose for us lives. Now, this video I'm calling Spiritually Understanding Narcissism and Trauma on the Planet, because there is so much untruth going on which is keeping people stuck. So first of all, I'm going to go back to how I've described narcissism, right? So we live in a multi-dimensional universe. There's nothing strange, I don't think, about admitting that. We all know that it's not just the physical dimension, yeah? We've got so much understanding on this, and we know it inside, spiritually. But the universe is not man-made, right? It's divinely made, and it's built on energy and quantum physics. We're energy beings, right? We're so much more than our bodies, right? We are an energetic field. And in that energetic field, we vibrate. That's what people talk about, raising your vibration and consciousness. And that energetic vibrational field contains our kind of essence. So our soul is bigger than our body, but it's our soul that chose to incarnate in this physical body. It's our thoughts, beliefs, ideas, consciousness. It's also our DNA is impacted, right? So ancestrally, we carry DNA, including some traumas and lineage, like karmic cycles, things that things that we want to we came to do and experience in this lifetime, overcome, but also do. We have a purpose. We have a soul mission. Each of us, every one of us, is here on purpose. So ideally, we would be doing things on the planet pro-humanity. Narcissism, and in the energetic realm, there's consciousness. So consciousness is like a field of ideas and thoughts, concepts that have existed beyond the beginning of time, from the beginning of time. And it's like, for example, love has a consciousness. And it's a very abundant one, a very expansive one. But when you plug into a certain vibrational frequency, which is like a consciousness, then you have access to experience all the thoughts and ideas. Just download, experience the thoughts and ideas on that consciousness. You'll know this when you've been in love, that suddenly everything seems lovely. You're in a different consciousness. People talk all the time about raising our vibrations and consciousness because we want to be in higher frequencies, right? So that we have access to more loving thoughts, much more creative ideas, right? We're plugged into our ascension, really, on the planet, what's taking the human race forward. There is a consciousness called narcissism. It does come from the dark side spiritually. It's a distortion, right? So a distortion, so if you think the whole thing multidimensionally is working on energetics and different sort of dimensions, which is the physical world, the spiritual world, different levels of consciousness, awareness, energy forms, if you like, angels, spirits, guides, whatever you want to say. If you don't believe in any of this, you don't have to. My work will help you. But if you're interested in understanding it and seeing that, we live in a multi-dimensional universe, and inside you'll know that on some level, I'm sure, then just be open to what I'm saying. Now, like a computer system, like if a computer gets a virus, yeah, the virus starts literally infecting everything in the system. It's a bit like what narcissism is doing, or even like when we have imbalances in the body. If you have a cancer in the body, cancer cells actually start imploding on your healthy cells. Cancer is our cells imploding on themselves, right? Self-destruction, a distortion, a destructive energy. That's what narcissism is. It happens on a spiritual level. They make a spiritual choice. So you've also got another dimension, everything we know about like light and dark forces spiritually, right? There are darker energies and distorted energies, and there are light energies, right? We all have darker energies we come to transmute, but narcissism is not necessary. It's just destruction. Helpful shadow energies are things like your own jealousy, transmuting your own guilt and shame and stuff, right? They're actually not things that make you want to go out and destroy the human race. You know, if you're working on true shadow work, it's like just seeing where your ego could be, and there's nothing wrong with our ego, we come to do this, right? But where your ego could be limiting your access to love, because what we all really want is love. We want to live in love with life and each other, actually, truly, and love and be loved, right? So the thing with the narcissist distortion, the virus we've got in our system, is it's just destructive. It goes one way. If it's a true narcissist, right? Not what media are calling narcissist when someone's got a bit of an ego, arrogant problem, but they're not they're not a highly destructive energy, right? I'm talking about true narcissists. So they go one way with people, unless they have an awakening. And if they had an awakening, they basically live off our energy force, right? So they are soul detached. They don't have the same emotional experience as you. We spend a lot of our time projecting our emotions on them, and they're great mirrors, and they've got psychic abilities because they're tuned into the other dimensions. That's what I keep trying to explain, the psychic realms. So like they can only exist while they're siphoning your energy. They're soul detached, plugged into this entity of consciousness called narcissism, which is why they all act in the same way. They're following the same computer virus, right? Very destructive to the human race. The biggest joke of it, well, let's talk about a few of the narratives. One of these narratives that's been going out there all the time as well, the narcissist is just a traumatized child. The narcissist causes trauma. It's not trauma causing the narcissist. Have some of them had difficult times and reacted in dark ways? Yeah, sure. But they made a spiritual choice. And are we now seeing in collections of communities more and more people, like everyone here, who's had the most amount of trauma, far more than any narcissist I've met, you know, like a lot of them haven't got that good a story to tell in terms of trauma. Something happened to them that wasn't normally that bad. If something really bad did happen to them, honestly, in my experience and what I've heard from people, there hasn't been a lot. And I'm not saying I'm the world expert, but I'm saying that to say that it's trauma causing narcissism, not narcissists causing trauma, is a complete lie. Narcissists cause the trauma. They're not caused by trauma, they're caused by a soul detachment. That's a choice. Most people here that have been traumatized don't want to cause anyone any harm, and their lives are destroyed. While the narcissist is still feeding off our energy, they don't get their karma. Because they don't have to reattach in the normal way. They can still feed off the virus, if that makes sense. So the good news is that the biggest lie of it and distortion is that we need them. So that's why they put you in a trap. You think you need them for resources, for, I don't know, survival. You don't. It's the other way round. Again, it's the other way round. Narcissists cause trauma, not caused by trauma, and they need you. The more of us that wake up to this, the less we will have businesses, systems, corporations that oppress people, that are plugged into human exploitation and destruction as a result of survival, because it's all about a survival program, right? And it's also a lie and a distortion. When you're tuned into your spiritual gifts, the higher realms, your higher conscious, you're on an ascension path, you are sovereign. You start becoming more sovereign in your life, abundantly, like able to self-source. You were born to do that. So they are using other energy, like they are attuned to some extent to the psychic realm. It's plugged into a consciousness that has certain ways of projecting illusions on you. Some of them shapeshift. My ex did. His face looked different. He could project who I needed him to be. There is a spiritual aspect to this of dark and light, right? The dark has put the virus in the system. We have to wake up and understand that we are sovereign. And the more you can come into your spirituality, the more you can do the work I teach you, the more you can work energetically, the more you can strengthen your energy field, the less this distortion can implant us. But if we believe the lie that we need them for anything at all, right, then we're not understanding that we're the entire battery source to this problem on the planet. And really, it's very easy for us, just not very easy in terms of like there's trauma bonding, there's all the things we talk about. But what I mean is it just requires us to raise our awareness to the actual truth, which is that without us, they have to ascend, they have to attach. The program doesn't get fed in the same way, which means that it doesn't exist in the same way. And there'll be different ways we ascend. Beyond narcissism, we don't need them, right? But will the human our experience on this planet is supposed to evolve and grow, not be destroyed, right? So will there be other darker energies, things for us to ascend and explore and experience? Sure. We don't know what that is yet. We came as a human race to keep experiencing more and more, but it's a virus in the system of the computer. It's a distortion on the planet. It needs to be understood, identified, and then come into the awareness, the ascension, the realization that they plug into us, we do not need to plug into them. You would not trap something that needed you, if that was true. They have to trap you so that you believe, and it's only your belief, it's only your consciousness, that you can't self-heal, you can't self-source, you can't self-regulate, and you can't be self-sufficient. If you can come into sovereign, please do. We don't talk about narcissism, I have a system. I don't have any other thing on this because it's the best work I know. And it's working with people that have tried everything, and I've been through a lot. And it's trainings that will raise your consciousness. It's energy work. It's not self-study. It's self-paced because as I release the modules, you get to do it in your own time. But you're in a community, and I'm very insistent on this, so that when people comment, I comment back. If you've got questions, I'm there. There's Q&As, there's feedback. You know, it's interactive. I support people, and I hold a very strong energy. People transform in my energy. So that's what happens when you're a channel. I have a channel. You know, I'm a psychic, and I'm working with the divine. I work for the divine, with the divine for, with the divine for the divine. But like, that means I've got an ability to help you ascend through the work. You know what I mean? And so it's not that if I wasn't there, you wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't have the same effect. It wouldn't have the same effect if I wasn't working with you in that way, as well as giving you all the tools, all the processes, everything that completely changes this. The trauma bonds, the PTSD, the not knowing how to be in your own sovereign power, right? It's a system, a sequence that will will give you the tools to set yourself free, and then you can go on and keep developing yourself and keep improving your life and actually being able to have a vision for your life. Because the thing about trauma, why do they want you traumatized? Because the human being doesn't evolve from there. And there are some narcissists in our society, and they are throwing out adverts and things that are just aimed to traumatize you, because when you're living in this fear consciousness, you will not use your intuition. You'll just be in fear, and fear is the opposite of love, right? Anything from God is from good, it's from love, it's from abundance, it's from overflow, it's from creativity. It's when your chakras are aligned and we start coming together in new ways and doing awesome things on the planet, right? And having a fulfilled life. We're not asking for much to want to have a good lifestyle and, you know, healthy families and all this stuff. It's not asking for much. We weren't meant to just suffer on this planet. We've got a distortion going on, and it's getting strong. You know, it's being misunderstood. And what will keep your awareness trapped is when people are fearing you all the time, so you can't get out of that. So that's the narcissist cycle. It's just like keeps trauma bonding you, keeps shocking you, keeps you in scarcity, fear, lack and loss. Like that's all you think about. Fear of loss, a scarcity mindset. That's when you can't be actually open and using your energy field for your intuitive gifts and your intuition. Someone calls it like what? It's your message from God. It's the way that you're going to know what's right for you in your life. It's when you know what's right and what's wrong. In a traumatized state, you haven't got access to it in the same way, right? But it's still there. And that's why you'll come on videos like this and feel it. You'll feel what I'm saying because it's true to you. So like, Yeah, just understand that the biggest lie is that they need you. Narcissists cause trauma. I wish these narratives would just stop. This is the result of trauma. No, they are the result. They are causing trauma. They're not the result of trauma, they're causing trauma. Have some of them had trauma? Sure. But I don't think that's got a lot to do with it, quite frankly, because most traumatized people are not, their response isn't that. Is there psychology showing that? Well, there is psychology studies, yes, that do show abused people go on to abuse people, but they're not narcissists, unless they are narcissists, where, it's like they'll suffer an emotional toll from that. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in them that has a lot of emotional turmoil. A narcissist doesn't have emotional turmoil. They are working for the dark side. They want to destruct everything human about you. Your empathy, your heart, your love, your ability to be creative, be you, be authentic, be in your full expression of self and soul, right? Your evolution. Absolute distortion, right? So see it for what it is. It's not so hard for you to connect. It's natural for you. It's not ever going to be hard for you to love again. You're born to love. It's not even going to be as hard as you think. Oh my gosh, things today on the channel, people healing from things they're told they were going to die from. There's a few people on here now. I want evidence that we heal, evidence that your life changes, evidence that you have the things you wanted, evidence that this is not a life sentence when you've been through PTSD and trauma. It is very heavy. When what I went through was very heavy. I could have died twice. Like, I was severely ill. I mean, not just died. I mean, the things I experienced due to it. This energy is just destructive. And if you're a strong light worker, I am, it really wants to take you out. It's not playing, right? It's just a distortion, though. Do we need them for our own evolution? No. We're on the planet to evolve anyway. You do it anyway. You descend anyway, but you do it in more beautiful ways than having to be literally almost killed every time, or losing so much of your life. It's a distortion. It's a distortion of allowing a certain consciousness have too much power. Because so many of us, I believe, have been so disconnected from our spirituality for too long, and that isn't it, right? Especially in the Western world, where we've been taught to ignore that, and that's got us into trouble, quite honestly. Because without that wisdom, someone said on this, I'm not criticising them, but they were criticising me, but just saying, I think she's New Age. I'm not New Age. I'm actually channeling ancient wisdom. So there's nothing New Age about it. It's old soul stuff. It's ancient wisdom stuff. It's the stuff that we know inside. Quite honestly, I'm just able to communicate it and connect it, I think, a bit easier than other people. But that's all it is. So our disconnect from our spirituality, right? And spirituality, again, it's like self-love is not taking a bubble bath. It's not. It's a side effect of being sovereign, because you no longer abandon and you no longer betray yourself. And spirituality doesn't mean just go and sit in go to a visit to an ashram. That's not it. Spirituality is a daily practice in your life where you understand that you're more than your physical body, where you actually have a connection to your higher power, to Source God, whatever you believe in or can get behind, angels, ancestors. You're a soul. You start with your own spirit, your own spirituality, right? It's a connection that you have every day, like your connection to yourself, which will mean that you'll always love yourself as soon as you don't self-abandon, which is part of a lot of the sovereign stuff. But your spirituality is a daily practice for you to understand your nature beyond just your human body. Yeah, you have a soul that incarnated in this body, but your soul's way beyond this human experience, right? So it's your connection to your intuition, your wisdom, your natural gifts and abilities, the things that give you pleasure, that are unique, that are like your essence, your self-expression. That's your spirituality. Not how much you do a certain ritual, although you might enjoy some of them, you might love some of them, and that's a beautiful way, because it's bringing you closer to your spirituality. It's your sovereignty, it's your spirituality, it's your self-expression. That's how you take back you. You know what I mean? All of this gets polarized, because people are like, well, if you don't do this way of praying, you're not spiritual. You're spiritual when you come from love and when you seek to. End of story. That's it. the more you want to love the planet, but understanding what love is, which is not at your own destruction ever, because you're enabling the worst in someone else and the worst of you. That's not love. So we have to redefine and understand love. I've done some videos on that, but that's it, right? The most spiritual thing you can do is choose to be loving and not betray yourself. And know what to say no to. That, you know, being loving is cutting out certain people and certain things. Because all you're doing is being the energy source to their dark. That's what I had to understand. You're the battery supply. You're actually being dark by accident, by that kind of consent or allowing your energy to be siphoned. So it's not loving to do at all. It's against humanity overall. All right, my loves. Hope that makes sense. If you want to join Sovereign, I've put the link in the description box. Please keep commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing, or just showing up. Everything just makes a difference to me. Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.